Hi there, it's Kevin with the Rogue Market here with this week's episode of the Market Monday Recap, where I give a more condensed form of the popular video series I do over on my main channel, the Rogue Deck Builder, about a market-related topic. So this week on the Market Monday, we had a bit of a segment that was focused on Nikya of the Old Ways. Last week we did Teysa Karlov. Well, Nikya of the Old Ways actually sees about half as much play as Teysa Karlov. So yes, it's not going to spike the price of cards as quickly as Teysa, but it still does have about 50% of the demand from Teysa, and therefore we should probably see about a 50% of growth that Teysa did for the cards that were surrounding around her deck. So let's look at Nikya of the Old Ways. This creature that says you can't cast non-creature spells, but whenever you tap a land for mana, you add 1 mana of any type that land can produce. So this card reminds me a lot of cards like Animar or other strategies where Nahab the Eternal, where you can get out a lot of big creatures quickly by having extra mana than you should. So a little bit of, before we get into the top 10 list of cards that I think are going to increase or might be lagging behind because of Nikya, let's give some evidence for Nikya actually spiking price value of cards. There you have it. Regal Behemoth looks like it's the first one to take off. This is a card from Conspiracy Take the Crown that went from $3 all the way up to about $5, and this mainly has to do with Nikya coming out. I mean, the timing is too perfect not to have this to do with Nikya. It's also the most played card consistently throughout Nikya decks is the Regal Behemoth. So with Regal Behemoth being evidence that this is actually affecting the market, let's look at 10 cards that I think have the chance of going up because of Nikya. The first one is one of a kind of a scraping the barrel card, the terminology I like to use for cards that are bulk price, but could actually go up, double up, and you'll have buy lists that'll actually pick these up for more than you paid for. This is called Hammer Mage. This was a card after scouring Nikya decks. I had no clue this card existed. And this card, now that I look at it, is one of those cards that just requires a little bit of education before I think people will start putting this in their deck. So what I like about Hammer Mage is it is a 2 mana for a 1/1, and you have X and red, discard a card from your hand, destroy all artifacts with current mana cost X or less. So you just have to pitch a card with 4, whatever you put into it. And you know how good Vandal Blast is on 4, so it'd be basically a Vandal Blast on, you discard something with 4, and just destroy all those soul rings and all those other rocks. And if anyone's playing Commander, or has been playing Commander for any given time, you know the artifacts by far are probably the most important thing to take care of, especially recently with some broken things like Helm of the Host coming out in Dominaria. There are some busted artifacts that need taken care of, and Hammer Mage is a destroy artifacts on the stick. So I just like this little dude. Had no clue that this existed. It does seem to have that nice little trajectory up. So you can see about Battle Bond, it started to see more of an increase. And these type of low supply cards, this is what happens. They're flat forever. And then all of a sudden, they get outstretched where everyone has them at bulk price. So it's been bulk, 25 cents for an uncommon. That's pretty typical, 20 to 25 cents. Everyone puts their uncommons at 20 to 25 cents. That's regardless of uncommons, that's where we're going to find them. Then all of a sudden, it has this little increase from 20 to 30 to 35 cents, which is interesting. Card Kingdoms are actually bumped it up to 35 cents, which is what they do for any sort of uncommon that actually sees some sort of demand, and the market price actually looks like it's above the mid. So I like this card if you can still pick them up, if you can scour through book lists, or if people are selling bulk, this is something you can pick out definitely. Like I've done that before. Pick out a bunch of cards out of people's collections, say I'll pay 5 cents for everything in this pile, 10 cents for everything in this pile, and whatnot. And it's a good way to get the type of cards like these. So I'm liking the Hammer Mage. Again, don't expect anything spectacular from this card. That's why it's my number 10. But this is something you should keep your eye out. It's not bulk. I think that it's going to go in enough EDH decks going forward once this card gets more educated that it exists. All right, on my number 9, this one is from Modern Masters 2017. This is the Zealous Conscripts. Zealous Conscripts sees a lot of play in Commander. There's a lot of loops with this card. A lot of people know the infinite combo with the Deadeye Navigator, Zealous Conscripts, and I believe it's something like Gilded Lotus, where you can just keep go infinite mana at that point and infinitely flicker the Zealous Conscripts and infinitely gain control of all your opponent's permanents until end of turn, and hopefully kill all of your opponents in one swing. Because you're giving their permanent haste as well. Really, really cool card with a lot of combos with Zealous Conscripts. There's some cool cheeky combos with Zealous Conscripts as well. And I think this is a card that is mainly going to go up. It's got one of those the market price versus mid is starting to really evaporate, and then the Card Kingdom buy list versus the market price is razor thin. So they're buying it for 38 cents from Card Kingdom. They're selling it on TCG Player for around 55 cents, 60 cents, 75 cents around there. And so something's got to give. So I think this card is going to start to go up. It sees a ton of play. Occasionally we'll see play in Modern, especially if we get some sort of pod list in Modern. You can see the Teamer Vanifer pod is actually using it. Let's pull up this list real quick to see how many Zealous Conjurer. One of in that deck. I mean, nothing too special, but it's still another spicy little Eldritch Evolution brew that is, again, a nice little combo we got going on with the Kiki Jiki. And the last time around, I believe this card was able to get, it was just when it saw play in the standard play, but yeah, it got reprinted around Modern Masters, which was here-ish. Yeah, there. So it started to see, it was starting to go up from 50 cents to about $1.80, and then it got crushed again because of the reprinting. But the reprinting actually didn't hurt it too bad from Modern Masters 2017. It just flatlined it out. So I think this card will start to gain more value. All right, on to my number 8. This is because of how well it works in this deck. This card sees a lot of play in decks like Krenko. This is Ogre Battle Driver. This card I thought was going to see a little bit of a price spike and it did right here for Locust God, because it's just such a great card with Locust God to give all your little insects +2/+0 in haste. They already had haste, I guess, but just +2/+0 for those insects. However, this card has seen a sharp increase from 40 cents to about 50 cents since Ultimate Masters. That is a time period where, if you actually look at a lot of Commander staples, a lot of Modern staples, a lot of staples in general, they flatlined because of Ultimate Masters taking all the focus off of the rest of the Magic economy. However, this card has gone up since then, so that is a really good sign for a card like Ogre Battle Driver. It goes in a ton of decks. I believe this was in like a supplemental product. Yeah, it was in the Speed versus Cunning, and I can't remember. I think it was an intro deck too. For here. So the supply is a little bit higher than just being printed in Magic 2014 as well as in Speed vs. Cunning. I do think that's why, yeah, so there's promo media. So was this a Walmart printing? I don't know where this came from or what these were. So still though, M14 is getting old enough, even with all these supplemental printings, that a card like this I think can easily have a double up. Card King is paying a little bit more. Their buy list is very aggressive at 40 cents versus the TCG market price of 40 cents. So they're basically paying exactly what Card Kingdom. Why doesn't Card Kingdom just buy out Channel Fireballs? I always wonder why they don't do this with each other. However, Ogre Battle Driver, I think, will continue that lovely little trajectory up, and this will be a $1.50 card. What I like it in the this particular deck, in the Nikya deck, is Nikyas can be built with sort of an elf ball type strategy. So basically drawing a bunch of cards and having a bunch of mana dorks, then they need to be able to tap 4 mana. So Ogre Battle Driver can help them tap 4 mana to be able to utilize casting more and more creatures. So pretty cool with Ogre Battle Driver in that combination with the Nikya. It's probably going to be mostly in the majority of decks for Nikya for giving things haste. Also just helps out giving your Eldrazi's haste is pretty nifty too. All right, so on to I believe this would be number 6 or number 7, 10, 9, 8, 7, yeah. Vizier of the Menagerie. Vizier of the Menagerie from Amonkhet. I've liked this card for a long time just because of how powerful this card is in Commander. It never did see very much standard play. I had it in a standard deck, which I absolutely loved it. I missed this card so much. From standard, I had it in my version of like a kind of a elf ball type strategy that cast all the creatures in one turn, utilizing the Explore cards and the Ronus's Monument with cards like Vizier the Menagerie. But anyway, Vizier Menagerie is a very, very good card in many, many Commander decks because it allows you to look at the top card of the library and cast if it's a creature card, and then you can spend any mana of any color to cast creatures. That's not that big of a deal. However, in this deck, the Vizier Menagerie is going to help you not get stuck with the lands over the top of the library. Most of the decks are running like Vizier the Menagerie type cards, and then able to play additional lands off the top of their library with like Oracle Moldias, Courser of Crucifixes, things like that. So it helps you just continue to go through your deck. And I think this is going to be the lowest you're going to be able to get on Vizier the Menagerie for quite some time. It's a Mythic out of Amonkhet. I get it. High supply set. Not that special. But this is, looking at foils too, the foil price is pretty reasonable with just a little bit over a ×2, 2.4 foil multiplier, where this card definitely could go crazy with Vizier the Menagerie. The Card Kingdom spread is quite significant again. This is always what you want to look for, is the TCG market price is actually higher than mid price now, and Card Kingdom is actually paying more, right on par with the TCG player mid. Again, when this happens, something has to give. Vizier Menagerie is a great one to start picking up. All right, this is kind of a pet card because this is another education card. This is Nullstone Gargoyle. I mentioned this last time, and I wonder if this was my price spike that happened here. I mentioned this card is just so good in Animar. It's one of the last cards I would cut when trying to find replacements for Animar. This Nullstone Gargoyle goes perfectly in Nikya as well because it can be ramped out. It does look like at least the eBay price is ticking up. The Card Kingdom price looks like it's going up from last time. We'll have to check the video. I think it was pretty cheap on Card Kingdom, so it looks like someone's actually taking advantage of the Card Kingdom there. The buy list is 52 cents versus the TCG market price in mid even at 88 cents. So very, very, very incredibly low supply. Ravnica City of Guilds never reprinted card. The foils actually seem pretty reasonable too for an older foil like this at the $6 or $5, $6 mark, and it's the regulars too. This card is mainly an education card just because a lot of people don't know it exists, but it's very good at shutting down creature-based or non-creature-based decks where, especially with Nikya, you're not going to be casting creature spells. Everything in your deck's probably going to be or non-creature spells. They're going to be creatures, so Nullstone Gargoyle is not going to affect you. So that is a very, very potent card, is the Nullstone Gargoyle in that deck, and it already is starting to have that Regal Behemoth effect and going up because of Nikya. All right, on to the next one, which is also another very high supply card. This is Xena, Nature's Herald. This is another one just because it works very well with Seedborn Muse, which just got reprinted in Battle Bond, I believe, is when Seedborn Muse got reprinted. So I think a lot of decks are going to be able to start putting Seedborn Muse in their deck anyway, and then want to have Xena, Nature's Herald, to kind of combo with it. Anything that allows to untap your lands on other people's opponent's turn and then allow your creatures to have flash gets that whole Prophet of Kruphix type effect in Commander, which is incredibly powerful. So if you can pair those two together, you're going to go crazy, especially if you have a draw ability through the many different, whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card type cards like Beast Whisper type cards. So Xena, Nature's Herald is a card that I believe was the intro pack, so the foil is going to be very, very and it's also an Elves versus Inventors, so keep that in mind that the supply is quite high for these. But I still think that this is going to be the commander that does outstretch the supply. Probably shouldn't have ranked this as high as I put it. This should be back more with Hammer Mage. So if you can pick these up at a decent price, do so. The Card Kingdoms increase about 50% more than the market price, but look at the market price in mid are right on par with each other too, which means there's probably a lot of movement with this card at the moment. All right, so now we're getting into kind of the juicy stuff with the top four. This one being the Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. This is a card that I've been very, very surprised that it's taken this long for it to go up in value. So let's reload this, see if we can get little price trajectory history here. So it bottomed out at $2.30 during about Kaladesh, Aether Revolt, and it's gone all the way from Aether Revolt up to $5. So that's a full, 100% increase from then. And now we're already starting to see even a bigger increase. The Card Kingdom has bumped it all the way up to $9. So the buyer's price, again, $5 for Card Kingdom. TCG market price and mid are dead on, and Card Kingdom basically paying the same. This card is inevitably going to either keep increasing at this rate or spike up even quicker. My bet is on spiking up even quicker because it's another card deck that absolutely wants to utilize this effect of adding 2 mana to your mana pool to cast more creatures, as well as having that 11 mana, which is very easy to get it to work in Nikya because it's tapping for mana. It doesn't have to be used for creatures, right? Yeah, it's just tapped to produce mana. So this ability of the creatures definitely is utilized. So getting it to 11 for this formidable, each player's life total becomes the number of creatures they control. Very easy to do in Commander. This card's indefinitely going to spike. On to the next one. These ones are going to be Mythix as well. This is Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. Another thing allows you to tap even more mana. I get it. Your commander's doing this. Why do you want another ability of this? Well, it kind of shuts down your opponent too. And what I like about this is a card that held a much higher price tag before Iconic Masters plummeted it. And Card Kingdom has already increased their price of $18. Their buy list price is $9. It's getting a lot more competitive. Market price is above mid price, which is, of course, is a good sign, meaning the cards that are being sold are being sold at a higher rate than TC mid is able to catch up with, and I think that the price spike for this is incoming. Everyone knows this card is it has been a staple in Commander since day one of Commander, because Commander really started getting a bit about Innistrad, so this existed about this time period, and Cloaks was already a staple. If we actually look at the new Phyrexia version of this card, you can see that beautiful price trajectory before it got reprinted in the Iconic Masters. So look at that. This is the cards I love because they never really are on the radar of people, and then people blink and it goes from a $16 to a $23 card without ever really hitting these goldfish movers and shakers for the week type thing. So I think Vernaclex is going to start to have that same trajectory before, as the supply of Iconic Masters is starting to dry up. Speaking of another Iconic Masters card that goes with kind of the elf ball theme of this, or just the ball theme of this particular commander, is Urbrask the Hidden. Urbrask the Hidden says creature you control have haste, and creatures your opponents control enter battlefield tapped. It's one of the better ones of this type of ability, and giving your creatures haste with double mana is absolutely what you want in the deck. And same thing as mentioned before, this was another card that had a beautiful price trajectory until it was reprinted. It did fall back down here, but then it really got crushed. This was more, right here was price correction. This happens all the time. This was bought out for whatever reason. I don't know if it probably saw some sort of one-hit wonder modern deck, and then it price adjusted here. But if you actually look at where this line should have ended up, it should have been from Battle for Zendikar to Aether Volt. It should have increased from 6 to 9. Should never even had this huge price break. So this is the price correction, and then it was the Iconic Masters that crushed its value after it was reprinted. However, I think once again this is going to be the point where this card is going to start to have that increase again as Iconic Masters begins to dry up. Last but not least is a card you definitely should get in on as quickly as possible. This is Xenagos. This is one of those where you got to look at Card Kingdom and their buy list. Buy list $10, Card Kingdom $20. They are a full $8 higher than the TCG market price. The mid is increasing as well. This is from Born of the Gods, which is by far, there's nothing in this. This is the second least expensive set in the entire set value in Magic the Gathering right now, behind Dragon's Maze. So you look at, there's Xenagos and Brimaz. This could be Aetherios all over again. Aetherios had a double up, triple up from the commander being printed, and I think Xenagos is the next to go. The thing that is, I think Xenagos is a much better card than Aetherios or Aetherios. I actually don't even think the card's that great, even in Tesa. However, Xenagos has a Tooth and Nail deck in Modern. Usually it is only a one-of, but I mean, it's a very, very powerful card in many, many decks. It can go in a lot of commander decks, not just this one, as it gives your creatures. So as long as your devotion to red is less than 7, it's not a creature case. So at the beginning of your combat, your turns, another creature gets +X, where X is its power. It goes in a lot of Voltron commanders. And yeah, so it had this kind of nice little trajectory. This is pretty beautiful, I would say. Going all the way down to 3, all the way up to 10 in a normal, healthy trajectory. Had a little bit of price adjustment here, and then just skyrocketed back up. So I think if you can get into your Xenagoses right now, this is going to be a double up, just like Aetherios. I think Card Kingdom is ahead of the curve here. Again, I think a lot of Card Kingdom has to do with an algorithm-based, or just they have it automated to when they sell 8 in a row, it jumps up the price by 20 or 5%, and then they sell another 8, it will jump it up by 5%. And so this is probably how many copies have sold, to where the price is they go 8, take it out of stock, increase by 5%, 8, take out of stock, increase by 5%. And, now they've got a $20 card sitting on Card Kingdom that people are still willing to buy. So anyway, I think it's time to get into your Xenagos God of the Revel. So to wrap it up, we have the proof of Regal Behemoth already causing the double up prices because of the Nikya of the Old Ways. I like Hammer Mage as an education card. Zealous Constructs because it's starting to see play in some Xanafer pod decks in Modern, as well as this seems like a no-brainer in a deck like this. The Ogre Battle Driver, which is just a really good commander card in many different decks like Krenko, all those type of cards. Vizier Menagerie, really cheap for a Mythic. The Nullstone Gargoyle, another education card that could pop. Yeva, this should actually be way back here. I think I'd actually get it before Hammer Mage. We have the Shaman of the Forgotten Ways, about ready to pop as well due to the Card Kingdom discrepancy. Vernaclex and Urbrask that I think are going to start to recover. And the Xenagos is the last but not least. Definitely the investment. If you can definitely pick those cards up. So I know this is a little bit longer video. I said these would be more TLDR when we're hitting about 20 minutes for these, but I think that's what it takes to really in-depth explain these cards. Hope you enjoyed these lists. I'll continue to pump out content for the Rogue market, kind of taking a breather, a break from actually playing Magic, but that gives me more time to actually focus on the economy of Magic, and it should lead to more videos for the Rogue market. Tomorrow I will once again have the Rogue Roundup. The Rogue Roundup is coming back, and that is where I pick one card from each format: Pauper, Legacy, Modern, Standard, and Commander, of cards that I am currently investing in and at what price point I'm investing in them. So be looking for that tomorrow. I'm going to make myself do it. Buckle down, sit down, and do it, and revive this channel. Anyway, this has been Kevin with the Rogue Market. Thanks for watching.